Who all's tired this morning? Okay, I got a couple people that are tired out there. So, I was thinking about this past week. It just seems like there's just more and more. It just seems like there's just more and more. It seems that our lives today are filled with so much more. Things get faster. There's more and more demands put on us. Things are speeding up. It seems that even the times that you find to rest, there's something always hanging over you. It just seems like it's it's almost an intentional thing. It's almost like, okay, there's something that is causing this to happen. And it is almost like there is an attack, and there is. It's a very spiritual attack. It's a very real attack. And if we look around, everyone's feeling this way. There's a lot of people, just as I asked y'all, I'm tired. Everybody says, they're weary, they're worn out. No matter how much rest we try to get, it just seems like that rest is out of reach. If we're thinking about it in the physical, But in Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, it says, "And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." So here's a promise here that in seeking God and trying to seek His face, in studying His Word and going out into the world, being a testimony, being a walking testimony, not just using our words but our actions. If we will just not faint, it says if we not faint, that there is going to be a reward here. That this is a spiritual thing. I'm not talking about physically anymore. This is a spiritual thing. This is a promise for us. In Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1, it says, "Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him that endureth such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be wearied and faint in your minds. Ye have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin, and ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children, my son. Despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth." And I looked up in verse 1 up here, let us run with patience the race that is set before us. And in the Amplified text, it says with patience and perseverance, or persistence. I think persistence is the word that it uses. So with patience, we're to do His will with patience and persistence, and to not, in going back to the previous verse there, not faint in doing so. So God warns us in His Word a number of times in different ways to not grow weary, to not grow tired. Weariness is a trap of the enemy to bring our focus onto the problem and off of the problem solver. And we spoke about this a little bit on Friday night, when Tom was doing his teaching, and if our focus is taken off of him, everything else jumps in the way. It distracts us. And when we focus on him, everything around, it's kind of like one of those. I think in photo editing they call it like a Gaussian blur, where the thing in the middle is the focus and everything around the edge has a blur to it. And that's the way we need to look. You know, Christ right there in the middle, everything else will just become a blur. He takes care of it. You know, that's the way we need to be. You know, physically, whenever we are tired, we are slower to react and do things in a less efficient way. Mentally, we cannot focus or work through problems or tasks effectively. However, when speaking about being spiritually weary, most don't even notice that they are. You know, they can feel something is wrong, but they can't attribute it to any particular thing. It surfaces as things such as like depression, unhappiness, you know, cold or like an uncaring disposition. Most will go to the doctor or a therapist and sit on a table or lie on a couch just to be told that there is a pill for that, you know. And I've spoken about this a couple of times before, and you know, and I don't know when it started, when it exactly started becoming a real thing, because when I first started noticing it, it was about the end of the 1990s. You know, there was all these antidepressants coming out, and I actually have a video from that era. It's hard to believe it was on YouTube, but I was going to play that and just listen to what they say in it.
You know when you're not feeling like yourself. You're tired all the time. You may feel sad, hopeless, and lose interest in things you once loved. You may feel anxious, can't even sleep. Your daily activities and relationships suffer. You know when you just don't feel right. Now here's something you may not know. These are some symptoms of depression, a serious medical condition affecting over 20 million Americans. While the cause is unknown, depression may be related to an imbalance of naturally occurring chemicals between nerve cells in the brain. Zoloft, a prescription medicine, works to correct this imbalance. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right. Only your doctor can diagnose depression. Zoloft is not for everyone. People taking medicines called MAOI shouldn't take Zoloft. Side effects may include dry mouth, insomnia, sexual side effects, diarrhea, nausea, and sleepiness. Zoloft is not habit-forming. Talk to your doctor about Zoloft, the #1 prescribed brand of its kind. Zoloft. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right.
Okay. When you know more about what is wrong, you can help make it right. Now, I don't know if y'all caught it, and it was kind of quiet. I think the sound guy fell asleep over there, but they say in the commercial, we don't know what causes depression, but we're going to try to fix it, you know? So we're going to give you this medication that's going to balance the chemicals in your brain, which I'm not arguing that there's chemicals in our brain. I'm just saying that I don't think that that's the cause of the depression, you know? And I've heard that being said about other, other I don't know what they call them. You could say like diseases or whatever, you know. I've heard the whole chemical imbalance thing before, and that they give you a medicine to balance those. And I'm not a scientist, I'm not a biologist or anything like that, so I don't think really I have anything to say on that. It just seems like that's used for a lot of the things that they don't know what causes, you know. So, you know, they admit in their own commercial they don't really know what causes depression, but they're going to fix it. You know, man tries to solve these spiritual deficiencies using physical means, and what has resulted is over 20 million Americans on these medications. And that was an old number. That was 17 years ago when that commercial came out. I remember when that commercial came out, and I remember saying, wow, 20 million Americans, you know, that's a big number that they like to throw around. And if you think about that back then, that's exponentially grown these days, you know. And I know people that have taken antidepressants, that have been prescribed antidepressants for physical problems, you know, like some stomach issues. And I just, you know, that's when I was like, okay, something's wrong with this here. But now we fast forward to about, I think this is about 10 years after that, maybe around 2011, 2012, and we have the next.
I'm taking an antidepressant, but it feels like I need some more help.
Approximately 2 out of 3 people being treated for depression still have unresolved symptoms. If your antidepressant alone isn't enough, talk to your doctor. One option he may consider is adding Abilify. Abilify is approved to treat depression in adults when added to an antidepressant. Learn more about Abilify. Call your doctor if your depression worsens or you have unusual changes in mood, behavior, or thoughts of suicide. Antidepressants can increase these in children, teens, and young adults. Elderly dementia patients taking Abilify have an increased risk of death or stroke. Call your doctor if you have high fever, stiff muscles, and confusion on Abilify, as these may be signs.
Okay, we don't have to watch all that, but the rest of the whole commercial, it's basically about a 30-second commercial, and 15 seconds tell you about the medicine, and the rest of it is just all side effects. So, okay, you're taking an antidepressant. It's not helping, so the answer is to take another one on top of that. And this one has worse side effects than the previous one. So where is the power in the pill? Where is that power at? Well, what is that supposed to do for you? It creates, in there it said that this could create depression and suicidal thoughts and all these things. And I'm like, what is it helping then? If it's causing those, and if the thing you're taking before is causing or trying to mitigate those things, what is that helping? If that's gonna sounds like it just goes against what you're already taking and making it worse. So we pick up here in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. And I feel like I should tack on a disclaimer here. After taking Jesus' yoke upon them, all reported success in 100% of instances. Side effects included happiness, restfulness, and a general easy feeling. So just to make it blend in, I mean, we can make light of this a little bit, but this is a very serious matter. There's a lot of not only Americans are probably the most affected, because those companies that make these prescription medicines, they're mostly based here. They're based in Germany, Europe, the Western world. But we've not only lost the power that is behind what Jesus has said here, we've lost the directions to find that power, as a majority. The enemy has come in with all these things that may cause drowsiness and put us to sleep spiritually. I would argue that these things create a pathway for those deceiving spirits to come in to a person and set up camp. If you're asleep mentally, if you're asleep spiritually, there's a vacuum there, and that vacuum is going to be filled. That is why you have to keep adding these medications when you go to the doctor. Well, this is just not helping me. I need something else. Well, take this in addition to this and get back with me in the morning. And pretty soon, you start just kind of coasting along on these medications. In Matthew chapter 26, verse 40, it says, And he cometh unto the disciples, and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, What, could ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, that ye not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went away again the second time and prayed, and saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. This is a physical thing. The disciples just keep falling asleep. It's the middle of the night. They're tired. They just keep falling asleep. But if you look at this with spiritual eyes, this is like, okay, Jesus comes up to you and he shakes you. Wake up, wake up. Keep your focus on me. And then he walks away, and then, all right, I'm going this way. It's just like when Peter said, I'm going fishing. After the crucifixion and everything, I guess I'm going fishing, So he walks away, and then he comes back, and then they're asleep again because the flesh is weak. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. You know, there's a clear heaviness in this hour. Those who are tired, weary, or otherwise spiritually asleep cannot understand why the things are the way they are. People have grown cold. Hatred abounds. You know, there was just another shooting. You know, they're becoming more and more commonplace. You know, people ask, what is wrong with people these days? Because they have no clue. They cannot see it. They just think, okay, people are just going crazy. In Romans 1, verse 29, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of God, and I would argue haters of those who love God as well, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful. These, as we get closer and closer to the end times, when evil is just going to be unleashed, you know, this is going to become more and more, and you can see it. There's deception, which is listed here. You know, deceit. There's plenty of that. In 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2, speaking lies and hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron. And I think that's where we're at right now, because you see all these people out here that are walking around blind spiritually, and they're just like, okay, you know, yeah, there's another shooting. Yep, well, you know, so what? You know, it's just a everyday thing now. You know, and people are getting hurt. You know, oh well, it doesn't have anything to do with me. Who was it? Oh, I don't know him. You know, it's like there's such a searing of our conscience happening today. You know, that this is more true than ever. I believe that you know, how are we to find that power that God has given us through His Word if we're not spiritually aware? You know, and that's the thing that I see that so clearly that this day. You know, we just as a majority. I'm not talking about us, you know, but I'm talking about as a majority of people. We are lost. We're in the dark. You know, we can't see it because we don't even know how to see it. In Isaiah 40, and this is a good promise, 28 to 31, hast thou not known, hast thou not heard, that the everlasting God, the Lord, the Creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is He weary. There is no searching of His understanding. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might He increaseth strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. This is a promise to His people who seek Him out, who find the way to His Word and how to just immerse themselves into His Word, that He is going to give them strength, even if they are physically tired, even if they are spiritually worn out or worn down. You know, that He is going to give the strength. He has promised His strength to those who follow Him, to those who seek Him out. And it doesn't say, oh, you know, He's just going to give us strength to sustain us. He says that we're going to fly, we're going to run, we're going to be able to run without getting tired. We're going to be able to go out every day and testify of His goodness every day without getting tired, without being weak, without running out of energy. You know, I can't wait for that day, because I mean, when we are filled with that, you know, it's going to be an amazing, awesome thing, and that's something that we have to seek for. That's not something that's, you know, it's not something that is out of reach and we have to wait 1,000 years or so. But I mean, it's something that we must continue to seek and search for. So, you know, physically, we're going to be tired, but spiritually, we need to be wide awake at all times. I've got some work to do there because I get tired physically, I fall asleep, and then spiritually, it's just kind of like, things just kind of seems like all week wail on you and wear you down, and then you're like, okay, where is this thinking coming from? Where is that thing? What is this coming into my mind? It's just like, okay, I gotta focus here. I gotta refocus. It's like Jesus saying, come on, wake up. What are you doing? You fell asleep again. Come on, wake up. You've got to be alert. You've got to be aware, because we're in a war. We're on a battlefield. There's things flying past you. There's things hitting you, and you're not even aware of it. Okay, where'd that come from? You're not going to know unless you're awake.